Personally, I can't carry my daughter if she's of age and give somebody that is idle, not doing
This
anything.
love of your life has needs, has has dreams. She needs someone that will be emotionally present, needs somebody that will be financially present, which is something people say, she's not in there for the money. My brother, the money is important. It's important.
Experience.
Let's
For
say,
me
for
personally,
instance,
for the past 10 years, by the grace of God, 11 next month, Christ has been the foundation. And trust me, I will tell you that if you know what you're telling me, I'm not supposed to tell my husband, it's not worth it. Don't tell me. Sometimes I will try to suppress myself. I'm not going to let the guy know, even if it is personal things. I feel like I don't have any personal life because I will still run and tell him just like I told you.
I didn't let that back.
That's deep.
Okay, I already laid that back.
Laid that back,
For you,
yes.
Allah.
So,
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to Classified Lab podcast. You're welcome to the episode 2 of our series. You know, I told you the last time that we are going to have a part 2. The last time we were here, I had a married man and I had a single lady. And I am here with Mrs. Adrose Jibai. She has been married for 11 years. Did you get that? 11 years. And to my left, I have Mr. Edem. He has been single all his life. He wanted to tell us the number of years he has been single, but we don't want to know his age already. So, but he has never been married. So, I'm going to be discussing with them why marriages fail. So, we are not going to waste time. We'll go straight to the point. And the first question, just like last week, the first question we have here is what is marriage and what is not marriage? And I'll put this question to you, man. What is marriage and what is not marriage? Because I believe a lot of things that we do today are actually not marriage. So let's get it from this.
So this is actually a technical question, but just like you say, I'll be speaking from my experience.
Yes.
So if I'm to speak on my experience, based on my experience, marriage is a beautiful union. That's what I'll tell you.
Wow.
Just like I mentioned shortly that next month by God's grace I'll be 11 years in marriage. And has it always been bed of roses? For me, 88% I will say yes. I didn't say 100%. I say 88%.
8%.
Yes.
That's a good percentage, I think.
And I can count the bad times, compared to the good times. So if I'm weighing it, the good times is more than the yes.
So it's indeed a beautiful
So
union.
for me, marriage is a very beautiful union. Don't forget that word. Union is a union.
Okay.
So that is what I will tell you from my experience. Marriage is until tomorrow I tell people marriage is a beautiful thing.
Okay.
Then
So
what is not marriage? If you ask me, it's just opposite of what I said. What is not marriage? Okay, for example, now I can't just come and be staying with my present husband without him doing the right thing, and I'll say I'm married. No, like if I'm permitted to use this word, we all know what people say Abuja marriage. Right from before I came to Abuja, I've been hearing that, and we thought it was a joke, but it's happening. Yes, in real life, it's happening, and you see people just staying together. In my place, I think they will say it's a course. If a guy wants to address me as a or address us as couples, he need to come and see my people, even if it is one couple he's paying as dowry in the African setting. That is respected so much in my place. So for you to say I'm married, you have to come and pay every necessary, no matter how small it is. Pay the whatever that you need to just do the due diligence. Then we can be addressed as married people. So for me, you have to do the right thing before you can be addressed as a married person.
in summary, casual cohabiting is not marriage.
It's not married.
Thank you very much for that insight. So, Mr. Edem, so from you never even married. How do you know what marriage is? But tell us, what is marriage?
And that is why I was so excited that the question was first put to
To her, right?
who has the practical experience.
Okay, yes.
I'm really excited to be on this show, and I am glad that I have the opportunity to learn from a very wealthy person.
Yes.
In terms of the experience.
So she's
of
rich
marriage.
in the information.
Yes, she's had depth of experience.
This thing you are saying, I will interrupt you on the last show. That is how it was. it was like me and the other partner. It's like we already were in a marriage seminar. We're just busy listening. We listen with keen interest.
Well, I'm really thankful to God and to you too for giving me this opportunity
Thank you, sir.
to attend a free marriage seminar.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, for me, who has never been married, with the conventional thing we've learned and known about marriage, it is legal union between two persons, that's a man and a woman, who have decided to legally start a life together. Now, it goes on to buttress her point of doing the needful, which is fulfilling all the traditional and cultural rights that needs to be fulfilled. Then you can now call yourself married person. Now, what is not marriage? I've spent a little time here. My outside is very fickle, and I've actually, one of the few things I picked in my course of my sojourn of learning Hausa language is that I already that bad. Yes.
Already?
That's deep.
Okay, already leather bag.
Leather bag,
For you,
yes.
Allah.
So when somebody just picks up leather bag containing a few clothes and they are cohabiting, and the next thing they claim to be married.
This one is deeper than Abuja marriage.
It's deeper.
It's deeper than Abuja marriage.
Exactly.
So that is not it. By the time you have the conviction of having to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you have to fulfill all the requirements that it takes to have that legal right to actually acclaim yourself to be one body. It goes against religious, traditional, and legal standards for you to just cohabit and start procreating without fulfilling the necessary rights. So that is what I would term as non-marriage.
I think I'm the one learning now.
Are you sure?
Because that point is very important. Yes, sir, you've said a lot, and I'm happy to learn from you also, honestly.
Yeah, that's quite a point. So what we are saying is marriage has to be legal.
Exactly.
I think what makes it legal is the traditional rights
Yes.
being done.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much for that input. So the second question we are going to be looking at is there have been a lot of debate. As a matter of fact, I'm not married myself because of this kind of debate.
Oh, I'm not alone.
Okay. The debate of when should I marry? When shouldn't I marry? When is the right time? So, this question, let me put like, how did you come to conclude that it's time for you to get married? Because I believe that your husband didn't come and just say, "Oh, I want to get married to you," and you were not ready, but you said yes. How did you know as a woman that it's the right time for you to get married?
Okay, as for me, I remember growing up, it was kind of funny, but trust me, that was it. I used to tell my friends that me, I'm not going to get married early. You know, this mind of a chap, I would say, I used to admire the senior babes so much because they're independent, and that was why I was aiming. I wanted to be, I thought maturity is just based on age. And I was having that mindset that I would always love to reach certain stage before getting married. And I remember I would jokingly tell my friend, but I meant it. I was not joking. I would tell her that, why can't you just allow our age maybe reach that 30 before? And she would say, God forbid. When you are mentioning your name, please don't mention my name in it. And she would just reject it. And, but I was still admiring such. But trust me, you are planning your own and God is planning his own.
Yes.
And in course of growing journey of life and all that, just like you said, deep within me, I knew it was time for me to settle down because parents were already telling you that your mates are getting married and truly you are seeing it. It's not like they are just saying it. And the guys that keep coming and all. So you begin to ask yourself, such people are coming, and if you're not ready to settle down, why are they coming? Because if you're not of age, I feel there was no point for the people coming to keep coming. And my own case, the pressure was so much because parents are saying, okay, if you are ready, you can settle down. Most especially my mom, she was saying you can bring if there's any person serious in your life. And truly, it was time. But well, as much as I was not serious about it, the time came, and at some point I made up my mind. I said, okay, I think let me consider this thing called marriage. And among the people coming, I prayed. I said, God should just show me the right person. Let me just settle down. And I kept praying, and I was not really desperate. But at some point, there are many reasons that will make you, oh, let me just be direct. There were reasons that made me to say, okay, I think if this thing is going like this, why can't I just settle down and know that if it is suffering, let me continue on my own. If it is enjoyment or whatever, let me just continue in that direction. So I just took a bold step, and I say it's time for me. I knew it was time for me to settle now, and that was when I, made up my mind finally at the age of 26 or 25 that it is time for me to settle down in marriage. So maturity, some people will tell you that age, but it's not all about age, because I've seen people that got married even more than that 26, and they were not matured enough. So I don't believe that it's by age. Maturity in marriage is not by age. Some people still got married younger than I did, and they acted more matured than I thought. So maturity, when you talk about maturity, people will give you different reasons, just like I've given you my own reason. So when it comes to when you are mature to get married, it all depends on individual. That's what I tell
So what you're saying is that maturity is like a yardstick for getting
you.
married.
Exactly. That's it, just a summary.
So, but what of finance, and then
If you ask me that question, I'll be glad to answer, because it's something that I was looking. In fact, my parent will ask you that what is the person doing? And when they ask such question, it's not like go and bring a pilot, go and bring, somebody that is having so much money. No, the person that they are sure can feed their own child. So the person will have to, you need to have something in your hand doing. So when you talk about that area, for me, in fact, is number one. Personally, I can't carry my daughter if she's of age and give somebody that is idle, not doing anything. So when you say, yes, money, 99% of our lives, let me say, it depends on money. So it's the number one thing. Recently, I was discussing with my husband, and I say, I still wonder. I see guys that are not doing anything, they are not even willing to do anything or add value to their lives, and they are telling you that. I'm sorry, I'm saying that, and they are telling you that they want to settle down. How? Because you need money to take care of yourself and take care of that person you are bringing, and children will start coming. So if there's no money, for me, it's a no-no. As a guy, if you don't have anything tangible doing, please don't say you want to settle down. For me, that is my own advice.
okay,
Yes.
so Mr. Edem,
I
you want to
almost, I almost said praise the Lord.
we are all children of the Lord here. You can go right ahead.
Okay.
Mm.
What I have to add to that is actually not far from what she has said. Honestly, get this we get this misconception and misconception that he who finds a wife finds a good
Good thing.
So some young guys don't bother about getting their acts intact before deciding to be committed with to another person. You see somebody that is barely taking care of himself, saying, okay, I've decided I want to take this person and settle down with this person. It is not the ideal thing to do. And just like she said, it's not age, it's not the numbers in your age that really determines the right time for marriage. It is that maturity. Now that maturity now is a whole ball of a whole other connected factors. Your financial maturity and discipline is required. Your emotional maturity too is required. Your maturity in communication is required. The things that you naturally would say to just any friend that you or your casual friends, you need to consider the emotional status of your partner when you're talking to. So if you don't have that one straight too, it's another reason not to get married.
Exactly.
Because with the little experiences that I've had, I've discovered that the female gender are very sensitive with words.
Yeah.
They're very, very sensitive with words.
Mm.
So you don't say what you are not, you don't mean.
Mm.
Your words must be backed up with action. And that action now it boils down to your financial readiness. Now, if you are not ready to at least, if you are not financially ready to at least take care of yourself, talk more of bringing another person's child. I had to put myself in somebody's shoes. We had a conversation one time with a friend, and she asked this question: Do you think when do you think is the right time for you, that is me now in person, to get married? It was a hard or a bitter pill to swallow, but I just had to be sincere. I told her that, see, first off, it is not about my age. It is about certain things being put in place. Now, this is not me putting pressure on the singles now that, oh, you need to have a house, you need to have all this and that before you get married. But there are certain primary things that you need to put in place.
Yes.
Your finances needs to be in check. Your emotional readiness too needs to be needs to be 100%. Your spiritual maturity too is very important, because there are times that you might not understand or you don't have the right words to address your partner's emotional stress at the time. You actually need God's intervention. So without you having that sound connection and that maturity that, okay, marriage is not just an institution of me and this person. There's a third party, and that third party is actually the core and the base of marriage, which is God. Without you having that, then I don't think you are ready for marriage. So in terms of finances, you need to have something good. I advised a friend of mine. I said, sometimes people will tell you marry potential, but the potentials have to have. You need to see realistic evidence that this potential will eventually bear fruit. If not, you are just marrying an ideal that tomorrow now you will start regretting. Oh, had I known, in a union that is meant to be
That's
a
forever.
forever job.
Mm.
So for me, there are a lot of factors. You need to be emotionally mature. You need to be um, mature by age too. Yes, the biological factor also plays an important role. Mhm. But I can't advise a teenager to go and get married, because because the way their hormones react to certain things and
Yes.
process information now
Yeah.
is crazy. But until you are that physically ready for certain things that comes with marriage, I'm not asking any young person.
When my last guest came, she said, "You think once you are 18, you can." So I asked her, so you now, can you marry a man of 18?
18 years.
She said, "No, she cannot marry a man of 18. She's above 18."
Interesting.
So, of course, not like a man of, just like we are saying, maturity, not like a man of 18 cannot get married. But with the nature of our society,
Yeah.
I don't think at 18 you have reached that level of maturity.
Although that's the legal age to start taking certain decisions.
Yes, start taking decisions. Yes, actually, yes, my guest also spoke of a decision at 18. You can take that decision and
Funny
you
enough,
answer
there
for
is
it.
culture that less than 18 they start getting married, and it's okay. So it's
And I, like we're talking, you were about to mention something. The promises that people attach to. I am not a person who is in this support of. I believe the Bible. I believe God. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. But in my experience, my personal experience in life, I've come to understand that there's an irresponsible way of trusting God. You can trust God irresponsibly.
yeah.
So if so,
Yeah.
the idea that people have that, oh, once you get married, doors open. I believe that doors open, but something must be planted to grow.
Exactly.
When you plant, rain falls on it, then the plant grows. So there must be always that
Balance.
there's that foundation of whatever you are expecting, that okay, once you get married, this thing now, just like ma'am you said earlier, you see young men who are not, actually I've had people mention, oh, they want to get married, and I just look and I'm like, okay.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes people don't tell you everything, so I'm not quick to respond to people. If I tell you today that, oh, I want to travel to the US tomorrow, you already know the cost of traveling to the US, but you don't know what is in my pocket. So you just have to say, okay,
Yeah.
Johnny Mercies,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that's how I respond to marriage decisions sometimes. Just respond to it like Johnny Mercies. Because probably you have an equipment that I don't know. Okay. Thank you very much. We have spoken to this extent. We've established what marriage is and what marriage is not. And when is the right time to get married? And from here we said it's maturity, emotional, maturity inclusive, and financial readiness. It's a good point. I think marriage, that's just the basic. So now marriages fail. You see that these people, they don't what is wrong? So why do marriages fail? Man, you're in marriage already. You don't have a failed marriage. So I'm going to start with Mr. Edem. He has been speculating, sitting back, looking at these married people. He has watched marriages crash under 1 year. He has watched some crash under a few months. He has watched some crash over under maybe just 3 months, 5 months, 3 years. So maybe you were looking from outside. Why do marriages fail according to all you see?
But it's actually easy to draw conclusions and postulations from a distance.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you're just saying to me is that this question would have gone to her best. But since you have it, drive on.
Mm-hmm. Or until you enter that boat, you will not really understand
What is
the
happening?
nitty gritties. But for me, I would even start with the little experiences I've seen with single people who court for a while with the intent of getting married. And in the process, the courtship fails even before they arrive at the desired destination. Now, there are a whole lot of factors that promulgates that. For instance, the reason for getting married, the reason for taking that decision that okay, this is the person I want to do my forever journey with. Sometimes a lot of people misconstrue the purpose of marriage and reasons for marriage. Some people make it contract, they make it transactional. Okay, and she has everything put together, and she's not going to be a liability. She has a job of her own. She has it going for her. So, yeah, well, it's someone I can easily start the journey with. It can also come from the opposite end. Oh, he has something doing. Like we said, you have to have something doing. But not everybody that has something doing is actually ready for marriage. He has something doing, so it's really not going to be a problem. We can manage. We can build from there without actually checking other factors. You are not checking the person's personality if it is something you you can live with. You are not checking if okay, this is a bitter pill I'm ready to swallow, or this is something I can live with for the rest of my life. Or and another thing too, personal development. Some people don't look at developing themselves. You just feel okay. I've had my goals set. I've had my purpose in life written down. Nothing should change it. Now, by bringing another person, this is you sharing, coming together right now from different backgrounds and different philosophy of seeing things, a different way of approaching or reacting to things. Now, this other person also has plans and goals and aspirations. You have your plans and goals and aspirations. How do you fit both dreams now and maybe goal set? How do you fit it into each other's plan so that you can as well grow together? These are things people don't, these are factors that people don't consider and they just jump into marriage. I feel that that's one major thing that causes failure in marriage. Another thing is the communication method.
Communication.
Yes, the communication method. Um, I've been around single guys who are very, very blunt. They don't censor their words. They say it as it comes to their mind. They just however it came, they just say it.
Brotherly.
Now,
Why are you talking to me? You are attacking me now.
they see it as normal. Okay?
Okay, let me learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
They see it as a norm. Okay, yeah. After all, they can take the dark jokes. They call it dark humor.
Yeah.
Mhm. You can take it. Now, having this kind of a mindset, and you're already conversant with it, you are relaxed with that kind of ideology. Another person now comes into your life without taking into consideration how this person feels about certain things you say or certain expected things that you should say. For instance, now, um, a guy would normally just say, okay, if she loves me and she wants to go through the ends of time with me, she will just accept me the way I am. Without willing to work to actually progress from that point where you are to a different point where it will benefit you and also benefit the partner in question. Some people have that ideology that okay, this is me, you either take it or leave it. And this is another thing that creates a whole lot of problems that could also lead to marriage dissolution. And I think sometimes we are more we are carried away by the idea of being with a partner than actually taking into consideration the things, the efforts, the commitments that is meant to actually keep this relationship running. Ah, it is easy to introduce somebody. Meet my woman, meet the love of my life, and the rest.
Mm.
This love of your life has needs, has dreams. She needs someone that will be emotionally present, needs somebody that will be financially present, which is something people say, she's not in there for the money. My brother, the money is important. It's important. Let's say for instance now, this is somebody that is an academia and she's always looking for how to grow from one level of education to another. You can't just say, okay, because you are married to her, yes, she has something doing, and you will not support that interest of hers. You have to. And by that, finances has to come. So if you are not willing and ready for the commitments that comes for marriage, definitely the marriage or the relationship is bound to crash. So communication is important, emotional maturity is important, um, um, trust is also important. Now, this point is not one that you trust blindly and just accept, but it has to be built to a point where both of you are each other's first point of call when there is any problem.
Mm.
It has to be built to a point where you, the both of you now, can see each other as a confidant. Because when you don't trust your partner enough to tell them your problems, the third party is automatically involved in the marriage. And sometimes not everybody actually have the discernment and the discipline to actually tell you the truth. Some people will just butter you up in order not to bruise your ego or not to pick sides that is not your own side. They could now tell you things that you want to hear, not the thing that you
Not the
ought,
facts.
not the truth that you ought to hear. So that trust has to be built. And how do you build this trust? It's through communication, it's through doing a lot of things together, and it's being transparent to each other and every other commitment that comes with it. I think Madam will address more on that because she's
In fact, as if we should not stop. Honestly.
Honestly, that you are the one that
I
has
don't know
put
why
us.
he's still single.
I'm telling you,
Maybe-
like
no, you picked the right person, I must say. I've learned a lot from him, and as if he should keep talking, honestly.
honestly, because
Yes.
and he mentioned a point here that we didn't have the last time. He spoke of motive. Sometimes people get into marriage for transactional motives. Then you see that point, there is a point he made about a man looking at the woman and saying, oh, she's working, so she's comfortable, so she's not going to be a burden. I have never looked at any woman like that. All my mentality is that every woman is a burden, because I know that it is your sole responsibility as a man, whether she has it there
or not.
And
or
it's
not.
biblical. You
That-
don't have to provide.
That is why I look at myself. Like when I'm thinking about marriage, I'm looking at myself.
Exactly.
I'm not looking at who the woman will be. Let her be working with the federal government. This one that I'm just managing the business. Let her be working with the federal government so that there will be balanced support. If I look and I feel I cannot be able to, I should be able to handle it solely first and then be helped. So at this point, but let me put it formally to you. You'll be married for next month, you'll be 11 years, you said. According to experts, they say when your marriage exceeds 10 years, then it has passed the test of time. So you've actually gone a long way. You've exceeded this 10 years. So yeah, of course, you are getting to it. You are in the 11th year already. You make it up by next month. So you now you should. She's going to be telling us from. She'll be picking from the pot. What has she? You want to do a separate record back?
I already have my writing.
No, you've broken me around. I think.
So how have you maintained it? So first of all, you will tell us why marriages fail. I will believe that as you are telling us why marriages fail, you also be indirectly telling us what you are doing that has sustained your marriage, that it has been intact.
Okay, so from this view, just like I said, I've enjoyed all that he has said. There are, the reasons why marriages fail. Let me start from that point. They're just endless. We spend the whole day here and not mention 1% of the reasons.
Yes.
And I will tell you with all sincerity that one of the reasons marriages are failing is because of the foundation. Just like he stated clearly that what are your goals or your motive before you embark on such journey, right? And allow me, if you can permit me to give you this demonstration. Marriage, based on the seminars and a lot that I've learned in the course of time, is that it's just like a triangle. And this triangle, the bottom part, like Africans will say, the bottom part is the sweetest.
Yes.
So if you permit me to use the biblical whatever, the under is the Christ. He's the foundation.
Yes.
This is my husband and this is Jennifer. So anytime Christ is not here, automatically we are both, we cannot stand. But when we are together like this, as this triangle, there's no way one of us would, come out of this. It's a shape now. It's a shape.
Yes.
And anything that will touch it is no more a shape. Do you understand? And this man standing under, which is Christ, by the time he's not the foundation, forget it, it will definitely fail. In court, there are still many people that, let me say, they are not believers, and they're only still working out. Because I remember meeting my husband before we got married. One of my attraction is that he's a believer, and not just a believer, but he's somebody that we sat down and when discussing your purpose in life in general, we discovered that we have a lot of things in common. So, and that is how, okay, we say, let's put Christ as a foundation and try this and see whether it's going to work. And ever since we introduced Christ as a foundation, it has been working and it's always smooth. The truth is that some days it's rough, but because Christ is the foundation for us, I'm speaking
Yes.
from my experience now, because
Yes.
Christ is the foundation, then maybe sometimes when you are tired, you are reluctant about the whole thing, then you remember Christ being the foundation. And this foundation, once it's Christ and it's Christ for me, is always standing there. When I'm tired, when I'm stressed, when I feel it's no more interesting, when people are saying it's no more, we are not compatible. I think that's the common word that is happening right now. And but if I
Maybe when you
remember,
ask why, they say we are not compatible.
yes, we are not. And before you know, a lot of things are going wrong. A lot of things, like if you sit down and you are seeing what is happening, you really ask yourself what is happening. But being that my own, the best is Christ, the foundation is Christ, you always bring us together, you know. And that is the reason why I've been in the marriage for the past 11 years by the grace of God, because He's my foundation. And it's failing because trust. My brother here mentioned trust. Any marriage that is not trust, forget it. For me, it's not a marriage. I think that was the time I mistakenly told my son something happened, and I said, "Can I trust daddy?" And he looked at me with shock. Why would you say that?
Wow.
And to me, it was not, to him, it was not a big deal, but to me, it was a big deal. This is something that other people maybe will see and say, "You yourself, you are not serious, Jennifer. Why would you say because of this thing you not trust your husband?" But for me, it was a big deal, and it came as a shock because maybe I've not experienced it, and it just came boom, and I made that statement. Maybe I was not supposed to make that statement, but for me, it was a big deal. But because Christ is the foundation, I didn't allow, as much as I saw it as a strange thing, that I started having second thought, can I trust this man? But because Christ is my foundation, we still came together, and before you know, communication.
Yes.
You have mentioned a lot of things that I'm meant to talk about it. Communication. And before you know, you open up how did this thing happen, how did it start, and how is it going, and all and all. And before everything came together, and you sit down and start laughing and say it was not even a serious thing. So communication is another key thing, because I remember we did one program in church, and communication, it was very unfortunate. The very day that the program was ending, I traveled. And in fact, the whole group, the caliber of people you met and all, everybody, they kept telling us that if you don't have good communication in your marriage, it's definitely going to fail. They will not romance it, they will tell you the way it is. If the communication is not good, forget it. And in the class, I remember when it came to our point and they asked us, how is your communication line? In fact, when we told them that we'll be there, even yesterday, I didn't sleep early. The only time you will have is after the hustle of life and everything. You come in the night and everybody is going to bed like nothing is happening. It's part of us. We are not faking it. Like, we'll be there with my husband after finishing with the children and everything. We'll be there talking. Sometimes we just look at time and it's one. And don't forget, in a few hours, you're still up running again. So we'll sit down. Sometimes, even before we got married.
You will still talk like that?
Yes, we talk. Before we got married, we'll talk to my husband over the phone. Sometimes we just laugh and say, what are we even saying? And you still have a lot to discuss. And even now, because from the foundation, right from the start, we discovered that we have to talk more. Even right now, there's no even enough time to talk. So our communication line, for me personally, our communication with my husband is something, I will not say it's perfect, but we keep working on it daily. And trust me, I will tell you that if you know what you're telling me, I'm not supposed to tell my husband, it's not worth it. Don't tell me. Sometimes I will try to suppress myself. I'm not going to let the guy know, even if it is personal things. I feel I don't have any personal life, because I will still run and tell him, just like I told you before the program started, that my husband say I didn't tell him where I'm going to. And before you know, I just let it, out of the box. Yes. So that is it. Communication is the key thing. Any marriage that, well, let me not get it wrong, but most marriages that if you check their communication, if it is not good enough, before you know, the marriage will start failing. I have a barrister friend recently that we're discussing, and she told me something that a friend is going through a lot in her marriage. And the first thing I keep asking, did she open up? Did she open up? I can't blame the lady. I was like that before, more than how many years? I was just that naive and gentle girl that entered the marriage, and anything that I see is going to affect me, I will just sit back and say, I feel you are mature to handle it and all of that. But I was doing it, I was getting it wrongly, because just few years that I've started opening up. In fact, my husband is telling me I'm becoming agro. And I like it like this because I'm now speaking more than before. And I feel it's working out. So your communication is the number one thing. Even if we are going to take 10 hours here, I will still dwell on that communication because it's the major thing for me.
It's more like communication is the crux of the matter.
Of a truth. Silent expectations is actually a killer of relationships. Because
You're expecting the other person to know.
Yes,
You are supposed to
yes.
we are not magicians, so
To know
please,
exactly.
you are the one wearing the shoe and
Yes.
you know where it's pinching you. Please say it.
Yes.
If we can apply ointment there to help you, then we will, or any other way of.
And you know, men, you people can be funny sometimes. You know, women, we are wired like that. Let me put it that way. Sometimes I'll be assuming you should know now. You should know. You know, but if you can come out and stop that assumption, I think it's better to just say it. It won't kill you. It's just to say it and you get it done. So communication for me is the key thing, honestly. Apart from the main foundation that I talked about, which is Christ, communication. That's why I say even people that don't know, but if you check their communication, like if it is good, their marriage is going smooth. So if your communication is bad, the marriage will fail. So for me, I will stop at that point in order not to take too much time, because communication in hundreds of points I'm going to make.
You will continue to mention.
Communication, I will continue to talk about communication.
Okay, thank you very much. I have two questions for you personally, and I'm hoping I don't forget them. Then I have a third question for both of you. The general question here is: we have emphasized communication a lot. What happens in a case whereby one party, like I believe that there are different forms of communication. So I'm just asking a question that should go deeper on how this communication can be, because, like me personally, I can be in certain these situations or thought pattern, and I don't want to talk. I don't want anybody to talk to me. There are few communications I would do by that time if they are business. Sometimes I can go as far as all my lines are shut down. It's just the business line. Most of the time,
you showed one for the money. Since you don't like communication.
Like the business line now, why the business line is open is because the people that call me most of the times are strangers. They are not expecting anything personal. Nobody's going to be asking you, oh, why are you sounding like that? It's like you don't want to talk to me. What is it? But most of the time, the people that call me, okay, I do business online, so people get my number from online. So as they call me, it's very formal. They are going straight to the point. I can take communication that are straight to the point, but like with people who I know, I say, bruh, like if it is my girlfriend now, first of all, the first thing she will ask me is that, and why are you sounding like this? You don't want to talk to me?
Yes.
And me, I picked the call. I'm expecting you to just go straight to the point, and you're asking me if I don't want to talk to you. So, the question is that, what of somebody who has this kind of issue? I believe it can happen to a woman, it can happen to a man, where they are in certain states where, oh, I don't want to talk. So in a state where somebody don't want to talk, how can communication function? Is there an alternative?
Well,
is my question clear?
Yeah, the question is clear.
Okay.
I think if I get it right, is that you're not ready to talk, and you're asking if there's another way out. Okay, so it's very clear. I think you've already answered it yourself, because, for instance, we are all here now, and we are supposed to communicate, right? Okay, all of us will decide to keep quiet. The program is, we are done.
Game is defeated.
It's defeated.
The audience will just be looking at people dressed up.
Maybe at the end of the day, people will start asking Mr. Rav, are you sure this your program is not for deaf and dumb and all that? Yes, because there is no way out.
Okay.
It's clearly there's no way out. So if you say, if your question is, if you don't open up, there's no communication. If you don't open up, there's no communication. Like something will be eating me deep within. If I don't tell anybody, just like you say, you are no magician, you can't just assume I know what is wrong with me. Maybe facially somebody can just look at me. Maybe my son challenges me a lot and I like it. Sometimes you say, mommy is like, you don't want to talk. You come this way, do that. And sometimes, even if I don't want to talk, before you know, you force me. Being a mother, before you know, we'll start communicating. So if you don't want to talk and you feel you're looking for another way to communicate it, why can't you just use the right channel, which is just open up, maybe say one word, and before you know, even if you don't want it to address, maybe people to start asking you a lot of personal questions, or you have to open up. You have to open up. If at all communication needs to take place, you have to open up. For me, that is what I will tell you.
From a single man's point of view, I've actually had series of such experiences. Yesterday was one of those things. Francis called a good number of times and I didn't pick. I saw the calls and I just ignored it. I placed the phone on silent. I just left it so that any important call that comes in, I'll probably return it. And here's the thing, it is different when you are single. You're permitted to do that. You are actually permitted to do that as a single person. You can shut down and just have your me time. But you see, marriage, I'm not married yet, but I don't know why I'm sounding married already. Maybe I'm.
No, you are right, sir.
Maybe you are very close.
You're perfectly right.
In marriage, there is no off day for communication.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is no off day for communication. Now, I've been around married people and I've seen modes of communication that goes beyond talking.
Okay.
A brother of mine that I stayed with for a period came back overwhelmed from work. He had the worst days for him. Coming in from the door, anybody that looks at him will know that today is not the day. So just fact, realign yourself and arrange yourself before you catch a bullet. And when he came in, the wife, understanding the partner that she's with, knew that okay, this is not the time to push him. What is going on? Why is your face like this? She just walked up to him, his bag, didn't even ask him how your day was. Welcome. Took him upstairs. They didn't even go into their private space. The next thing, the wife just hugged him. And that was enough for him to be vulnerable.
Wow.
Now, it boils down to some of the things that we probably did not mention or we did not really talk much about in the introductory part of this show. Compatibility is not understanding somebody perfectly, but also understanding times when certain demands should be made, when certain actions should be pressed for. Without her even asking, that action alone gave him the comfort space for him to be vulnerable enough to talk about what happened. It now led to the part where you said Christ has to be the foundation. She did not have any powers to go to his office to shout at anybody, do this or don't do this, do that or don't do it. They both went into it in prayers. And before you knew it, all those things, it aligned like no man's business. So, whether you like it or not, communication, whether by some form of gesture or by speech, has to happen in marriage. Communication is one thing that is unavoidable. Because if you as a man now, sometimes we see it as some of us men, we see coming to that point of talking about our stress as being too vulnerable and being weak. Honestly, in marriage, you have to be weak to get that help from that helpmate. You have to be weak. Because if you are always putting up the facade of I'm a man, I'll take care of it. You come, you are so down, you have a lot of stress, a lot of things stressing you mentally. You just come and be quiet and just say, I'm a man, I'll deal with it. Brother, you go feel that leave the
Exactly. Yes.
You understand? And you're not helping the partner now to actually play the role of being your partner because they are not talking. So communication is an unavoidable factor or part of marriage. You have to talk.
So
Whether
in
by
general,
action,
lifestyle, if I have the permission to say that, in general, honestly, I'm that person that sometimes I don't want to talk word because my husband understands me so well. You know, he respects it. And I have learned another thing that there are other ways to communicate. The wife, being that she knows her husband so well, you know, she's communicated. That
Yes.
talk alone is communication.
It's a lot of talk.
Yes. Yes.
You see, what people have said, people have answered my question. And I'm not just answering this question I'm not asking the question for me alone.
Exactly.
But, you know, just like he said, he has seen a lot of scenarios like that. Like now, from what he has said, what he just got is that the woman understood her husband. Because even me, when I'm in that state, not like I cannot talk. There are triggers you can press and I will talk. But the worst way to go about it is to ask me a question. The worst way to go about it is to ask me a question.
Forgive me for laughing. It just reminds me of childhood age. When you are done fighting and maybe the other person overpowered you, you are trying really hard not to cry. And the next thing they now ask you what happened.
That
question is a platform for you to just lose it.
I was sitting here. I didn't touch him.
Yes. Yes.
So honestly, thank you very much for that input. But you wanted to add to it that point of understanding.
Yeah. So you know, in general life, sometimes it's like that now because it's not all the time that you want to talk. Excuse me. Just like I said, we have good communication with my husband, but trust me, sometimes you are overwhelmed, you are tired, and you know, because my husband understands me, he will be talking, and at some point he will say, it's like you are tired. You know, the response will start reducing and all. But because you understand, you respect
I will not take offense to it.
Yes, you will not take offense to it. And that's also not taking offense, it's another way of communication because we understand ourselves. For me, the communication, I can't do my life without communication. My husband cannot go to work and not call me. I would think something is wrong.
Of course.
And if he didn't put a call across, there's the way. If at all I didn't see his call, let's say from 8 a.m. to 4, I know that something is wrong. I will find a way, maybe drop a message or something. Communication is taking place. So you cannot do without that communication. Honestly, you cannot. For me.
I think this is key. Communication. Thank you very much for your input. So now before we go to the next question, by the way, I think this is third question, we'll combine the last two. So before we go to the next question, the two questions I said I had for you. One is a bit general too, but then one is for you personally. Now, the one that will go with the one that is a bit general first. You spoke of Christ as the foundation.
Yeah.
So what we are Christ as the foundation of your marriage. Now you know Christ as a Christian. A Muslim does not know Christ.
Yeah.
A Buddhist does not know Christ. So, but marriage is a common thing to all.
Yes.
So, I wanted to ask for somebody who is not a Christian to be able to relate to the solutions we are trying to proffer here. I remember you also said whatsoever is the foundation.
Yes.
So, when it is not Christ the foundation, what other? Of course, this is not an alternative to Christ. I'm talking from a perspective of, I'm not a Christian then. So, what other necessary foundation must be in place for marriage to not fail?
That's quite deep. That's quite deep. But thank God I'm talking from experience, not just
Yes,
assumption.
yes.
So for somebody that is not a Christian, just like I earlier said, depends on the foundation that you start with. Well, that's maybe there are a lot of other options that you can put as your foundation that it will work out for you. But for me personally, when it is not Christ, I don't think the foundation there's anything. If it is not Christ, there's no foundation. Let me put it that way. For me personally, if it is not Christ, there's no foundation. For other people, the foundation can be different things, right? And it might still work out for them. But for me personally, it's Christ, and that is just it.
This is
There's
more like
no
this is more
option.
like I know no other
I
than
don't know
Christ.
exactly.
Okay, man. Mr. Edem, I don't know if you want to respond to that.
Well, of a truth, like I said earlier, I said it's easier to assume and give judgments from a very neutral point of view until you are there.
Until you are there.
Now, for this question you asked, there must be a basis. There must be something you hold sacred. Now, I'm answering this from a very neutral viewpoint, so that in case I venture someone who doesn't know Christ will not invalidate whatever they are believing.
Yes.
But the thing is, whatever we hold sacred is something that helps channel our decisions. These are things that restrict certain actions that we see would have a negative result. For instance, now, you say, if not for the fact that I had made a promise to my mother that I will never be a woman leader. That now is something you hold sacred.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, there must be something that propels
Your decisions.
control and decisions. Yes, control over your decisions. Now, that should be another base for a relationship, but ultimately, it is Christ. Because it is the fear of God that would make you look at your partner as yourself. It is the fear.
Christ that teaches that.
You can't get this teaching anywhere else. The atheist will tell you, do unto others what you want them to do unto you. But there are certain things that you do unto yourself, or what you want people to do unto you, that is actually not right. You understand?
Yeah.
It is only under the auspices and influence of Christ, the teachings of Christ, that you know that certain things, although it feels expedient or that people are doing it, doesn't make it right. So, to crown it all up, if you don't know Christ, find Christ. Because that is the only base that we know.
Look for Christ.
Yes. If you don't know, please.
We are not trying to be religious, but for
No,
us,
this is not
I just spoke
basically
from
you are talking about what is
experience.
working for you.
Yes, other people can get their own basis,
Yes.
like you said, but for us, what we know is ultimately Christ or nothing else. Because, for instance, if not Christ, I wouldn't have been in marriage for 10 years. Not because the guy is a bad person, but there are a lot of things as the journey is progressing, you discover that because there's no way you tell me in the course of the relationship you know this person 100%.
Of course.
It's not true. So as you're progressing every day, you discover this. If not for Christ, there are many things that you say, no, I didn't bargain for this.
Yeah.
And some things may be as little as, and some things may be, there are little things and there are bigger things. But because it's Christ, you go back and you pray, and before you know, you are back to your feet, and the journey continues. So for me personally, Christ has been the foundation, honestly. Christ has been the foundation. And
That's
he's
the
still
formula
going
that
to
works
be
for you.
the beginning and the end.
Yeah,
That is what is working. I'm saying what is working out for me. If it is not Christ, I used to tell my husband gently, I say, thank God for God. If not for Christ, as much as this marriage is not like it's not shaky, it's not having problem. But I'm this kind of person that I used to tell him that I used to have this mentality that if you do me anyhow, I walk away. I'm not going to fight.
You were just ready for that.
Yes, I was just ready for that. I don't know, maybe because of the background I'm coming from, and seeing maybe some of siblings or steps, what is happening to them. I don't know, but I used to have that mentality. But thank God for church, there's this program we did, make, right?
Mm-hmm.
And before we went to make, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be religious, but I'm
Go
just
right
telling you what is
Yes,
working
you
out
are
for
saying
me.
what works for you.
Yes. And I remember 3 years back, we heard about this make, and I attempted. And my husband said, we don't have problem in marriage. Why are you taking us to make? What is the full meaning of
Yes,
make?
please tell us.
Marriage enhanced,
Okay.
yes,
Marriage
class.
class.
And even people outside the Fed used to come for this program.
Yes.
You know, and he said, we don't have problem. Why are we going there? And I relaxed because truly there was no issue
Problem.
glaring, and we relaxed. Then suddenly when somebody asked him, have you done MEC? And he laughed, and he came back and he told me, remember MEC? Somebody asked me if I've done MEC. And I said, what was your response? I said, I think we should just go and do it. And we went there. See, this marriage, you can never say you know it all. Reaching there, we discovered that we didn't know quarter off. We didn't know quarter
of what you thought you knew.
Yes. And
Wow.
we started learning a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot. And we came out like brand new couples that just got married. And it's still working out for us. And let me make this point. That's the reason why I even mentioned MEC. Before MEC, I was still going with that mentality that if anything happened, peradventure something happened, I'm off.
You fall out.
But trust me, after MEC, I had to follow our instructors, people counseling us privately after the general meeting. And I thanked them. I said, you have impacted what you don't know. You have done for me. You know, because it had just erased that mentality. And that is the reason why I think I'm speaking up more than before. If I see anything that I'm not okay with it, I say it. I don't allow it just like before that could have maybe, caused problem in my marriage. Before now, I would just let it go. And if I didn't get it right, I would be angry. And I didn't communicate it. But now, no, it's no more like that. I'm encouraging people that this is like Pastor Zara would say, tell your story.
Yeah.
By telling your story a lot, like I've learned a lot from him. Telling your story, it may bless some people. To some people, it's even offensive.
Yes.
Why is it all working out, and why is it and all and all and all? But this is working out for me. Like one of our friends that we went out in, himself and his wife, they were saying we die here. You understand? And just 2 weeks back, and I looked at these people, I say, wow, these are the kind of company I want to keep. You remember? Because having as a young girl coming up and saying that if it's not working out, I'm going. And these are the kind of people you are seeing that they say they died there. No matter how. The man gave an example, he said it's just like a car. Let's assume one of, or even two, but it's just remaining one tire. Let's keep pushing until we fix it. And that's deep. So, like I said initially, marriage is a beautiful thing. If you're ready to sacrifice, if you're ready to be patient, if you're ready to learn, if you're ready to love, if you're ready, sometimes you don't even feel like loving again, but if Christ is the foundation, all these things, they will still come back together.
But when I don't make me go propose,
Please,
don't make I ready because the way you are standing down, it's like Ralph, go, you make it.
I've told singles and I'm still telling them this thing is working out for me. I don't know how people are looking at it, but it's working out for me. So it's not 100% perfect, but for me it's working out. And trust me, any mark, you give me exam now and I'm giving you 88%. Are you going to fail me? So for me.
Yeah, I think I firmly agree with you as talking from a Christian perspective also. Yes. Because the only teaching I know, I don't know of any other, but I've known to teach selflessness is Christ. Christ is the only doctrine that I know that teaches selflessness. And when you said you always had this mindset, oh, if you know what, I ball out. I remember when I used to be under discipleship with Brother Billy Akani, what he will always teach in the class was, I. Whenever you are saying I, that is selfishness. I is selfishness. That is when you are now thinking of just yourself. So now Christ is now the only foundation that helps you to see that it has to go beyond I. It has to go with we for it to be for it to work out. So I will use this point to put it out to anybody who is not even a Christian, to say that means selfishness must be out of the way for marriage to work. Then it was get to a point whereby you are no longer I. We are thinking about we. I remember my last guest, he gave a point. He said at the stage of courtship, when you are still courting, a lot of things must be discussed where you get to know each other better. And he said that is where what the woman likes and what the man likes come to become what they all like. What she does not like and what he does not like, they now come together and become what they do not like. So I think that is a kind of uniting to form that oneness that is expected in marriage. Okay, I will not forget that personal question for you. Mr. Edem, you and me, we are in the same ship. I don't know if you'll be able to relate to this. Sometimes I don't know what I think there's something that happens to the female folks, that's the married ladies. I don't know if it is desperateness, but there's this thing I've experienced. I believe in communication so much. Like I said, I have times when I don't want to talk. Anybody that knows me personally, I'm somebody that talks. So, and I talk about virtually everything. And when he said, you want to say it as it is, I felt like this one is already prognosing me because he was talking about me. Because I'm a kind of person who says it as it is. And most of the time, I expect you, the other person, to say it as it is. So, there's something I've always said to myself. I don't want a situation whereby a woman will wake up in my house one day, in our house by that time, and say, I wish I didn't get married. Like I want to be so transparent that you should see enough, and with your whole conviction say, oh, I think I can do this, and you go in. Like I don't want my woman to come into marriage and get to a point where, oh, I didn't see this part. That means I hid something. I don't want to hide anything. So I talk a lot. I say it when I am no longer comfortable. So, but I've had an experience whereby you are talking to ladies and they are just all quiet. Every time you say, see, if I say I don't like you to keep this water here, I want you to keep it this way, and you think there is a reason the water should be here, please confront me immediately. If it is not immediate, like if you cannot control the level of your confrontedness, that it will look disrespectful, just you can always tell me later. But talk to me. Why do you think the water has to be here? And honestly, I'll reason it with you. And if we can agree that it should be here, let it be here. I'm not expecting you to always take the part of yes, sir, yes, sir. I will take it that you are not being real. You are being like a robot. You will still not impress me like that. So, and I will not. You will still not impress me by not keeping this water where I want it to be without a reason. If you are not keeping it here, then I should know the reason, and we should come to agree with it, right? So now, this is where I'm driving at. Ladies have this part where they keep quiet. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Maybe not literally saying yes, sir, but it looks like everything you are saying is going. And then sometimes, thank God, in my own cases, they still come out while still in the relationship. And I take my stance as a result of that. And sometimes it doesn't come out in the relationship, it comes out in marriage. Where the man gets to find out that, oh, eventually he has happened to marry a very aggressive woman or a very stubborn woman, someone that was very cool before marriage, right? So, because the experience I had this girl, okay, I would always have discussions. Oh, I don't want this like this. I don't want that like this. I looked like everything was taken. Then one day, when she wanted to talk to me, she busted out in anger. I said, damn, that was the day I ended the relationship in my mind. Ended the relationship in my mind. It is not she talking back at me that is the problem. But it's the fact that this thing we are talking about is not today. I've said this thing. If you have not been okay, you have said it from onset. You didn't need to let it reach today to burst out on me in anger. Because now, why did it offend me? It offended me because I have this notion that when I get married, I don't want my next door neighbor, as close as the wall is sharing us, I don't want my next door neighbor to overhear my voice with my wife.
Exactly.
We should have everything in a discussion format. So if you are getting to this point whereby you outburst on me in anger, if you do this thing in marriage, then how can I take it? I want a woman whereby we can be able to discuss and talk about it. That's why when I'm in a relationship with people who don't talk much, it doesn't work out. Because when you're not talking, I feel like you have things you are hiding. So that is the question to you.
Wow.
How are you able to talk to your husband, dispute certain of his stance on things, that he doesn't feel disrespectful? He doesn't take it as being disrespectful.
In marriage or before marriage?
You can tell me as from even before marriage
Okay.
and even in marriage, because me, I'm not married yet and I'm having the issues. So how did you
Overcome.
sustain it in courtship until you even got married and now you are 11 years?
I think I've mentioned it earlier here that used to be that kind of quiet person that you say you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Every and anything you say, whether it's okay or not, you order not to have issue with you.
Mm.
Just, yes. I used to be like that. I used to be like that. Up until when, like I told you just a few years back, because I brought it into my marriage.
Mm.
And even in marriage, right from courtship to the marriage, anything you're doing, sometimes I'm not okay with it, but because I was that quiet type, just allow you. I feel and assume you are an adult that you should be able to handle it better.
Mm.
And I keep that assumption going. And one day I sat down, it was on my own, and I discovered this thing I'm doing is not going to help both of us. Because sometimes I'm doing that and I'm hurting myself. And the guy will not know that what he's doing is totally wrong.
Mm.
And gradually, I made up my mind. It was a decision I took that day. And gradually, I started responding gradually. Not in a disrespectful way, no. And I started opening up. Maybe when you say, okay, just like you gave the example, this water should not be here, then I will tell you the reason why the water should be here. And I'm not doing it in such a way that you feel maybe I'm trying to, enforce my idea on you or something. We'll discuss. If, for example, my husband will say, this water should not be here, I'll say, okay, the water is here, at least the light is showing us whether it's pure or not. So why can't we just keep it here? But I'm just suggesting.
I think that is adding up.
Yes.
You are actually adding up.
So, we talk about it. I'll give you the rundown. We talk about it. And if you're able to prove to me that it shouldn't be here, I'll still tell you no. And I will not be angry, but you have to give me the reason why it should not be here. So I've started opening up gradually, and trust me, that's the best part to talk of. Opening up is the best part because ever since I've started opening up, I discovered that a lot of things are getting better than when I used to keep quiet. And it's not like I'm still trying to be, talkative or something. It has to be something reasonable. It's not just talk anyhow. I don't even have that energy. So I think opening up is better. I started from that quiet person, but it wasn't paying me so well. And when I started speaking up, it's paying me more. For me personally, that is what I would tell you is the answer.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to lend a voice. You're actually not in that alone because
I like it when you are relating with me like this.
Okay,
Because sometimes I feel like, is it I'm a strange person?
No. Okay, so being in a relationship, it's going to be formally a year at December 3rd. And some of the things that we see or we are struggling about is exactly what you just put here. Now, finding a common ground for conflict resolution is very key in any relationship. Sometimes, being that you are the very outspoken type, the other partner could be the silent observer that doesn't like confrontational atmospheres.
Exactly.
Because, like you now, you said you like it being said, don't keep it, don't keep it. Somehow, some way, the reason why they keep it is because if they want to respond to that time, my brother, the water no go even dey the table.
Exactly.
The water will be nowhere to be found.
Yes.
Nowhere to be found.
Yes.
So they keep quiet. Now it is left for you now to try to poke into their own minds to find out, okay, I didn't mean to be an enforcer or to be forceful about the idea. Why do you understand? You now create a platform for that feedback to come.
Yes.
Now, it takes us back to where I said working on personal development. You can't be a straight ruler in a marriage. You have to compromise. There are certain compromise that has to come.
Yes.
Okay, you are a very proactive person. You expect sharp as I'm asking this question, answers is coming and we are finding solutions and done. But if you've noticed that it is also in your place to find another formula that works towards you still getting the same goal of getting your answers of the reason why this water should be here, not here. So if you also have that silent expectations, you need to voice it out. Why do you think this? Because I said this water should be here and you still kept it there. So why? Just like you wouldn't want the other partner, whether male or female now in this question, just like you wouldn't want the person to be disrespectful in their response. You too, you are not meant to be disrespectful in your question.
Yeah.
So it is important for us to know when to say what, how to say it, where to is important.
Yeah.
It could be that there's somebody around, you understand, there's somebody around and she doesn't really want, I don't know if you get the idea, she's not comfortable with that person knowing her true person. It's just that is meant for you alone, not for public eyes. But you expect her to react and respond to that thing immediately. So the where to also matters. Where are you asking her the question or where are you giving her the instruction? For instance now, for married couples that have kids, on no account should you chastise your partner in front of the kids. Because they will end up growing with the idea that it's normal to talk to anybody anyhow, especially your partner. I have a friend that will tell you, they had me to forget my hand for her face, make you correct her. Like, are you serious?
On his wife.
Are you serious? I grew up in an environment where the only day I've only witnessed that once, and the witness is now they went into their closet. They tried sorting it out. Anger is inevitable. There's a level to which you cannot control it. We heard their voices from the room. We didn't even see them. You understand?
I think it's still better private. Whatever is happening there,
you understand? Whatever is happening there, we did not see their facial expression or if they were throwing fists. No, we just heard voices.
Come out and tell you it was not a fact.
Yes, we just heard voices. This is my mother coming back from a very hectic day, and the husband just threw jabs at her. My dear, today just bath and rest. I've done a better job than you will do in the kitchen. This woman silently wanted to prove a point that you cannot do a better job. And my siblings here worsened the whole issue. They were like, wow. Mopsy food sweet pass the one where you did it last time. This woman started preparing another meal.
Interesting.
As I passed 10 to 11 p.m. She, after preparing it, she forced everybody to come and eat.
Wow.
You must eat too. We ate. And my very vocal brother still said, although I'm filled to my brain, I still prefer that. That's where the problem started.
Serious?
We saw the facial expression. Those of us that could detect enough, early enough, we moved. We excused them. The other ones, they no send, they still there, they share the meat and stuff. They went into their room. So, must you say that in front of your children? How do you want them to see my cooking now? Especially that one. If I go out, I will knock his head. And that was it. So growing up in that kind of environment too, it also helps to curtail your own excesses to an expression of whatever feelings you have. Anger, like I said, is inevitable. You cannot control how someone should react to something. But having that agreement and compromise on what to do or how to approach crisis situation is also key. So like I said, where, when, what, and how is very important. Those things are very important. Those things that you feel naturally your partner will take and not feel offended. There's a place where you say it and you feel offended. I was in a car with my partner one time, and then we're coming back from church, so we made some jokes. And we're telling the other guy, see, just keep quiet. Oh. They said people should mingle. You too, you were mingling with somebody. Your own mingling will not work. We tried helping you to mingle somewhere, and sometime we made the test. I didn't know it was getting far. Well, as we were driving, I was the one driving. Just now, like, with other people in the car, said, I'm disappointed in you. Disappointed in you. Where is this one coming from now? Then, you know I'm driving, please. Yeah? Make it plain and simple. You're disappointed. What happened? Are you now a pimp? And you'll be arranging women for people, and you're seeing it with all amount of pride.
And the other people were still there in the car.
Now, she's trying to express dissatisfaction to what happened without discretion. Now, remembering that there are people in the back of the seat behind the car, I kept looking at her like, I didn't see anything again. The look I gave her was, do you know that there are other people in this car? And she kept venting and venting and venting.
And that's one that you like. One that will vent immediately.
No, not really immediately. You know, I said that the response must not be disrespectful. So talking,
it was not disrespectful. That's how she responded to him.
No, for me it was disrespectful.
That is for you.
Because you know why I think it was disrespectful? Just like you people mentioned,
there was no discretion, right?
Yes, there was no discretion.
Now, the action that angered her, was it discreet? You understand?
No, it was not discreet.
So here's the thing. That's why I said you have little or no control over how somebody perceives an information and reacts. So all that we need to do now is pray or point it out that, okay, I know you felt bad that this thing happened, which was exactly what I did. I know you are feeling bad about whatever it is, but please, on no account should you vent in front of any other person.
And you can still communicate it nicely. It shouldn't be as if you're bossing over the person, because lady, that's what we don't like. That's just the truth. Just like I said, when I was quiet, that doesn't make my husband to leave me or something. Over the years, he's been taking it like that, because anything you do, I'll take it like that. And when I will start showing that this thing is not right, Why didn't you say it that
He
time? Just like
dangerous.
you said.
Mm.
But he found another way, which is not to.
Mhm.
So sorry for what you just, I don't know how he did it, but
So you understand. Now, what we should be dreadful about, or we should dread most importantly in a relationship, is pent up anger. That something is hurting somebody and the person is not seeing it.
Mm. That's what causes the outburst I
Yes.
spoke about.
Because when it implodes, it is
it's
out
going
of
to be
control.
dangerous. Yeah.
It burns down a lot of bridges that will take a lot of time to build.
If you are able to amend
If
it,
you are
if
able.
you are able to amend, sometimes because how many people will you keep changing? How many people will you, okay, because this person respond this way?
You understand?
For instance, my husband will say, you don't always say something, and by the time you compile the thing, you are now saying it, it's now becoming a problem. If you say you continue changing people because of their way of response, just like he said, you don't have control over people's way of response. You can rather you correct them and maybe teach them this is how you should do it, not always bossing over them. There are so many
It
ways.
is not easy to start over.
No,
I
it's
don't know
not.
how people do it, but it is not. How do you? Okay, because this person has a particular character trait you don't like. Yeah,
Let me look for another person. You go around the world, you will not see one. You go around the world, you will
You
not
go
see
to another
one.
person and
I'm
you
not
see
even.
meet another
I'm not
challenge.
even
Yeah.
trying to be too moral about it here now.
Yes.
How does it feel to start telling a fresh and new face, a
And
different character
answer,
with
trust me, exactly.
you start telling
Yes.
them, "Oh, I love
You
you, I
change-
see you." It's weird.
Yes.
It's weird.
Yeah,
It's a whole lot of job.
It is. In fact, you stress yourself. Just like I gave example. When my son came with that complaint against his auntie, what did I ask him? I say, okay, what do you want? Because you listen to children, at the end of the day, you conclude. What do you want us to do with her? And he said, she's not totally bad, but I said, but do you want us to change her? How many people will you change? And I draw my conclusion. You understand? So if you say you're going to keep changing anytime you see person that match your energy, you get tired. That is just plain truth, nothing more than that. You get tired. Recently, when I started speaking much, my husband will look at me and say, "Hey, Jennifer, you like this, is you. You are just opposite of." I say, and I'm telling you, I say, forget marriage, not just in marriage. In general life, I'm enjoying my life better. It's less stressful. Ralph, I
Speaking out
like
your
the
mind.
yes, Mr. Ralph, this thing that you instead of before I'll just keep quiet and you think is okay by me. Now I'll tell you there and then, and we go.
Clear up.
So you can always find another way of correcting the person.
Yes.
So I think this communication, some important preliminaries to it, the where, when,
And how?
and how.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much for your input so far. I believe that the viewers will be having a nice time. So we have identified why marriages fail. So for us to not just point out problems without solutions, this is where we'll now take this last question. So, what must be done to prevent the further failure of marriages? What must be done?
Okay, so for me, um, I'm my wealth of experience is not as deep as hers, but
You never
um,
can tell.
well, I would say that first of all, compatibility is one key factor that has to be identified before marriage. But when I say compatibility,
Hmm.
let's not forget that no human being is 100%.
Hmm.
So no situation is even perfect. You work towards compatibility. That is where you have to shift grounds. Some certain things that you say, okay, I am this kind of person, I can't do this, I don't take this kind of things. You have to shift grounds to also enable your partner meet you halfway in the relationship. So compatibility is key. Compromise too is also key. Trust is paramount. Trust is paramount. And making God your foundation. That is one key thing I've learned from her. Making God your foundation. If God is not
that Christ
yes,
foundation.
that Christ foundation, without Him, it is useless. Whatever knowledge you feel you have, whatever diplomacy you think you have, there's a level where it gets to, and you lose your own diplomacy. So having Christ as the basis, forming a good communication line, being willing to compromise, and also setting realistic goals and expectations. Please underline it though. Realistic goals and expectations. Because you might be expecting too much from your partner, not knowing that it is too much for the person. So you have to set realistic goals too. So where you expect the person not to be angry, my brother, expect anger because a human being. It's just you now finding a way how to manage that anger so that it doesn't implode beyond. I think that's my take.
So for you, you are saying foundation,
Yes.
communication,
Yes.
compromise,
Yes.
and having realistic goals towards the partner.
We also talked about compatibility, which is
They also spoke about compatibility, which these are for you steps that can proffer solutions to avoid further failure of marriages. Thank you very much, Mr. Edem. Ma'am, so
okay.
conclusively,
So yeah, he has said a lot, which they are the major things among many other ones, definitely. So if this is going to be just like an advice or saying it from my own experience, what has been working out for me is the same thing. You have to put God. Anybody you are serving, just put God first. Let Him be the foundation. Let your foundation be solid. When it's solid, definitely the building will stand. Then trust, just like I earlier mentioned, any marriage that doesn't have trust, I don't think for me it's even to become, you know, marriage. Then another thing, let your communication be so good because when your communication is good, it helps a lot of things. It prevents a lot of things from crashing. We should just stop, just like the recent thing we discussed. We should stop assuming this person know, or this person should know what I'm feeling or how I'm feeling. So communication should be really good. And lastly, I will add maybe to my ladies, nowadays the ladies we are not coming down at all. And it's good. It's good for us to make our money. Just like a friend, a senior friend in church one day, we did MEP together and we were just discussing, in general life, how a lot of people are suffering, their marriages are suffering rather. And she was telling me, Jennifer, what is happening? Do you think the speed at which women are, making their own monies are bad? And I say it's not bad, but depends on the let me say the purpose. You just like he said, you should make your purpose clear. You should make it clear. If my purpose for making that money is for my marriage to crash, to come and crash at the end of the day, maybe, in fact, from the beginning, there's no point for me to make that money. So when it comes to making money these days, I see that a lot of women, by the time they make the money, they are trying to be independent, and before you know, marriages are crashing like never before. So as much as it's good to make the money, either I'm yes, of course, I'm making my money and I'm trying to make my money, but the aim should not be that my marriage will suffer at the end of the day.
Yes.
So as we are making money, we should not make the money with that motive that by the time I'm made, maybe the marriage should just do whatever it feel like doing. So that is the last point I'm going to make because truly, after making the money and we are independent, we feel the marriage is no more important, which is not the goal that God designed. It's not how God designed it. So if we remember how God designed marriages, as much as we are trying to make our monies, we should also remember that this marriage of 18 is God that designed it. And if at all we don't want to disobey God, we want to keep it going, we should keep it, you know, we shouldn't have any negative, I don't know how to put this one at this point, but let me say, whatever we are doing, we should remember that if it is God that designed it, we shouldn't do anything that will offend God, right? we should obey. If this thing is God,
We should follow the
we
manual.
should follow the thank you. We should follow the manual. I think that's the right word. We should follow the manual. So that's what I would say.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your input on this episode. I'm just going to note something, but we'll not talk about it. But
I was already seeing another episode coming.
Because honestly, because you said something in my head. Like, we have all spoken here, and do you know that even by my past guest and both of you, nobody has emphasized. Okay, I think my past guest, he spoke about feelings and emotion. Nobody has spoken about love. Oh. Love. This is the first time love is being mentioned here. So I want to believe that, like the way they say, love alone cannot sustain marriage. So I think we are good to go with that, right? That means love alone cannot sustain marriage. So two crazy people out there in love shouldn't just think they're so in love enough to get married. So they must put these other things in check. Thank you very much for being on the program, Mrs. Andros, Mr. Edem. Let me shake you. I don't shake married women. Thank you for being on the program. And I'll be just out there. Keep your fingers crossed because, like he said, he's already envisioning another episode. Because somehow I'm feeling an inconclusive discussion. I feel like it's inconclusive. So, but keep your fingers crossed by next week. Watch out for the next episode that could be. Would it still be on why marriages fail? That is to have an episode 3, or would it be on something else? But surely there will be something coming your way. Thank you for watching and remain blessed.